Hope you are all well. It's been an interesting day with other games going on and us not playing. Not doing a preview last night was interesting. Shock to the system, let's say. Could have been in Southampton today. But hey, I've started talking now. I've got a bit of a shiver, so I'm just gonna put a jacket on, and then we'll get down to business. Yeah, it's been a day. It has been a day. We've had two sort of big transfer stories come out. And over the course of this week, we've got a little bit more to talk about as well. There should have been videos for Andy Smith and Vinagre. However, this has been the most tiring, most stressful week of my life. So, yeah. You didn't get them. And it's a bit late now, isn't it? But let's see how we're going. Nathaniel, fellow to Hull and Back podcast team member. We will be talking about all of these tomorrow in the episode as well. So please check that out. We'll be live at about 7 o'clock tomorrow, as always. So Nathaniel says Ömür, Ohio, and Giles would make a good window on top of Sharp, Pando, and Carvalho. But another winger too, we might be too good. Hello, Krakenhaus. I think actually, I was going to say I'm fairly certain actually that is hospital in German. Evening, Jacob. Loney FC continues. Hey, we'll use the loan market to our advantage. Thomas, how you doing? Ollie, we'll talk about Noah, Ohio later on. Leo, how are you doing? Luke Little, naughty dart player, might I add. He's good on the old arrows, isn't he, Luke Little? He's playing a game of arrows, you know. Bet he's had a kebab after this win. Baz said we've almost signed a winger on a permanent, but had been asked not to say. We'll talk about that later on. Ashley, how you doing? Gallagher, how you doing? Another winger on a permanent. Good. Only in Ohio. Been in Brid all day. What have I missed? Well, we'd better catch you up. So, since we last spoke like this, Pando is confirmed. I will just say I've had it confirmed to me by media team, by Google Translate, by stuff like that you pronounce it Ivor Panda. That's done. Done deal. Lovely stuff. That was done last week. This time last week, it was done. Okay. So, confirmed outgoings then. At the start of the week, Henry Sandat's loan at Southend was extended to the end of the season. We signed Sandat from Southend at the start of this year. A month ago, we loaned him there just for a month. But then at the end of that month loan, that was extended not just for another month, but until the end of the season. And because Sandat was so highly rated at Southend, if I'm honest, it wouldn't surprise me that now they've got some cash in the bank and their ownership situation is out of the way and sorted, I think it wouldn't surprise me if Henry Sandat leaves in the summer and goes back to Southend. Just putting it out there. Just putting it out there. Pronounce Carvalho. Fabio Carvalho. Fabio Fantastico. Ole, ole. Ole, ole. Fabio Carvalho. Fabio Fantastico. Love it. Okay. Then, Andy Smith going out on loan. That was a surprise. None of us expected that at the start of the window, especially not after he played so well against Birmingham in the FA Cup, in the home game and the replay. But Rossignol is willing to let Andy Smith go out on loan, gone to Cheltenham, who, of course, had Jacob Greaves a few years ago. And currently, well, today, Andy Smith made his debut. His centre-back partner, this is wholesome, Curtis Davis. That gives me a nice sort of warm and fuzzy feeling inside. I'm a fan of that. I'm a massive, massive fan of that. They've got a former Tiger, Elliot Bonds, in their midfield as well. Okay, good, because I had an argument with someone on which way to pronounce it. Guess I'm right. Worried that Arjun is going for it this year. Would rather set us up for next year. Worried we're going to lose what makes us good next season. It's a good point, but the Giles option, we're not paying that $4.25 million or whatever it is now. We're going to pay that in the summer, so it will count towards next year's accounts. I'm just seeing a mark on my watch there. So that'll count towards next year's accounts. Then after that, Ömür we'll talk about. Because I do have some feelings about how we spend that money. But the nature of the championship is that you have to sell. And we didn't have a big... Well, last summer, we had Kino as the big sale. This season, we haven't had a big sale. But if we need to bring some money in, and I don't want to see either of these lads go, let me just make that very clear. We've got Greaves and we've got Philogene. I think out of the two, we're more likely to lose Jayden. And on Jayden, we would still make a very, very tidy, at least 10 million profit. I think probably a lot more, because English tax, that will, if a club in the Premier League wants to sign him, club like, I don't know, Villa bring him back, for example, that buyback clause won't be active, so we can charge them whatever we want, and it's up to them whether they want to pay it or not. Villa will need players trained at the club, trained in the nation, to play in Europe. So Philogene, Cameron Archer, etc. might be ones that they look at. Equally, having homegrown players, like players trained in the nation for clubs like Newcastle, will be useful. If we're looking further up, just thinking hypothetically, Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal, etc. I'm not saying Jayden Philogene will be sold to a big 6/rich 7 club, but that's what the state of play is. If we need to sell, to strengthen elsewhere, we've got two players there that combined we could easily make 25 million on. Probably a hell of a lot more. And you've got to remember for FFP as well, we've got loads more sponsors on the board now. So McVitie's, that's massive. That Annex deal, that's massive. Corendon, massive. When Adjan took over, you've got to remember this FFP period starts that we're in now. It starts when we still had the Alams as our owners. So we've got leeway because the Alams spent so little, all right? Because they spent so little, we've got room to maneuver. I think from the summer coming onwards, it's going to be a bit more difficult. It just depends how much leeway these sponsorship deals give us. But in the summer, it's going to be crucial that we sell. David, you make a very good point. Adjan's a businessman, we will be fine. And there will be people at the football club who are constantly monitoring this. Adjan hasn't shut up about parachute payments and FFP. Tan hasn't stopped being asked about FFP since they've been here. So it's going to be in the front of their minds. We will be fine, but we'll just have to invest very, very cleverly. If we have a look at the players we've got at this football club, though, if we look at this season, I'll take Andy Smith off now. I'll share this Word doc, right? We're going to move Alayar out this window. He'll be on a big wage, but we're only going to move him out on loan. Same for Sinik. Those two are on massive, massive pay packets, and we're only moving them out on loan. We've got to get them out permanently. Same can be said for Oscar Estupinian. I think we thought that giving Oscar to Mets on loan with 5 million coming next summer was an easy 5 million. But Oscar's hardly kicked a ball, and when he has, he's not really impressed. So I think in the summer we're going to be scrounging round with Oscar in the last year of his contract, just trying to get someone to pay pennies for him. Longman, I don't think has a future. Fleming, I don't think has a future. There's interest this window in Ingram and in Lakilo. Out of contract in the summer, there's Traore, there's Christie, there's Connolly. We're going to lose Carvalho, Delap and Morton. Ohio as well. Giles, we can make permanent if we want to. Ryan Woods is on a massive wage packet. He's going to have to be moved on. There's interest in him in this window. Don't know whether it's loan or permanent. But that's the trouble we've got. We've put players like Oscar, Sinik, Syed Manesh, Woods, etc. on these massive, massive, massive contracts. And the problem is going to be getting someone who's interested in them to move, who's willing to pay their wage so we can move them out and not make massive, massive, massive losses on them. Sinik was 3.5, 4 million quid. Oscar was on a free, luckily. Alayar cost a few quid, definitely. So there's stuff to be conscious of here, I'd say. There's definitely stuff to be conscious of. By the way, that number 13 for Panda on that document, that is just a guess. Oscar hasn't scored since the 8th of August, and that was against Doncaster. True. Going to be a right sale in the summer. Enshep, it's gonna be a right sale in the summer if we get if we have offers for these players on permanent deals and clubs can pay their wages because we put them on such big contracts. That's put us in. That's, as a selling club, that's put us in a difficult situation in terms of trying to move these lads on. And the buying clubs will get into contract negotiations and they just won't be able to compete with the wage demands because players won't want to take a wage cut. So we've got to be careful. We've got to be very, very, very careful indeed. In terms of contracts, if you want another rebuild like we got New Owners again, it's not necessarily a rebuild. It's just moving out what isn't necessarily what we need. In terms of players' contracts then, next season, Allsop, Theli, Estupinian, Fleming, Foster, Ingram, Jarvis, Jones, Lakilo, Lottatala, Longman, Sandat, Sellers, Fleming, Seri, and if you come up here, Sinik, Tufan, Woods, all out of contract. That's how it looks at the moment in terms of contracts. This year, the ones that matter are Christie, Connolly, Doherty, Green, Jacob, I'd argue, Sharp, Traore. I can get rid of Vinagre now, can't I? I can get rid of Vinagre, which will buy me some space there. Shuffle them up. And then in terms of loans ending, there's Bora, there's Carvalho. There's Delap. There's Morton as well. But yeah, that's how the contracts look for those interested. What has happened to Jarvis? Javo has got a broken foot, I think. That's why we won't be. That's why I don't think we're looking to loan him out this window because he's injured and that kind of thing. Ömür playing as a 10 or a winger seems a good winger, but we're clearly trying to bring another in. Also, 4 million seems an awfully large fee for a position we have covered. It does. Seeing as you've mentioned it, we'll come on to Abdülkadir Ömür now. That is how you say it, by the way. The Turkish way of saying it, Abdülkadir Ömür. Like you're saying no in a really sort of strong, like you're saying oh no in a really strong Hull accent. No. Ömür. Abdülkadir Ömür. Okay. So, £4 million from Trabzonspor. Came through Trabzonspor's youth academy. He's played there all his life. According to Wikipedia, he's played 205 times for them. He's won the Turkish Super League with them. He's won the Turkish Cup and the Turkish Super Cup with them. But he's been frozen out. Yeah. He's been frozen out and was looking for a move away. Trabzonspor really didn't want to sell him to anywhere other than in Turkey, but he was desperate to come to England and prove himself. A few years ago, he was linked with Man City and Liverpool. So I think he's a little bit different to the sort of Sinik, Alayar, Tete, Pelkas mould of signing. I think that spending that 4 million on him is in preparation for one, Tufan not necessarily getting any younger. He's nearly 30. but he does seem like he's loving it here. And the advantage with Tufan is he's not just a number 10. He's been deployed as a wide player this year, and he can sit deeper as well. In fact, for most of his career, he played as a 6 or an 8. And Ömür can play as a wide player as well as a 10. And bringing him in prepares us for next season because we won't have Carvalho. It gives us depth in that area for next season. We don't know what's going to happen with Traore yet. To be honest, if it was up to me, I don't think I'd renew Traore's contract. That's just what I'm thinking. That's just what I'm saying. Seems worth it considering he almost went to Man City for 25 mil. Good point. He's completed the Turkish league. I put something on Instagram earlier about Abdülkadir Ömür. I said, I'm not quite sure how I feel about this one. The 4 million could probably be better spent elsewhere, and the signings we've made from the Super League last summer haven't really worked apart from Tufan. However, this lad is more established than the likes of Sinik and Tete were, and was a target for Man City not too long ago. To play devil's advocate, however, Pelkas was established and he didn't turn out to be anything particularly special. The jury's out, in my opinion. Let's just see how he gets on. That's my view. That's my opinion. Yeah. That's my view. And Ashley, as you said to me earlier, A-level. I'm a measured man. Apart from when we lose 8-0, then I lose my head. 4 million on him, though, plus Carvalho loan fee and Tufan's wages make our number 10 spot well expensive. As good as he is, why not leave Carvalho and not just get Ömür in? Unless he actually intends to play him as a winger. That could be what we have to do. Because, so Ömür is almost, it's done. He's just going to come do his medical and actually officially sign it. But apart from that, everything's agreed. It's done. Right? He might end up being played as a wide man because even though we are targeting a winger, and we'll get to that in a little bit, Alaya, Sinik, Lekilo, all rumoured to go. Alaya is getting closer. He is rumoured to be going to Westerlo in Belgium after a move to Dutch side. Fortuna Sittard fell through. Doğukan Sinik going back to the Turkish Super League again. He's going to go and play for Hatayspor, who we played in pre-season. And Lekilo, there's interest in him, and he has had a bid submitted by a club. We don't know who that club might be, but an actual physical football club has put a bid in for Jason Lekilo, and I'm going to assume they play at a higher level than North Ferriby do. Lekilo needs to go. Whoa, awful play. They want to remain anonymous. Kidderminster. Jesus Christ. I've just dropped my pen. I've never seen him pass forward. I hope Alaya still has a future here, but I don't see it. I don't see it either, to be honest. As sad as it is, I think Alaya's a decent player. But it just doesn't seem like he's got any time left, really, which is a shame for him. But he's going out. Sinik, like I say, is going to Hatayspor. It was just going back to the Super League in local press, and then Yagiz Sabunkolu, the most reliable man in Turkey. Ole, ole, ole. Shut up, Dad. The Yagi Shabunkolu, the most reliable man. He's put me off. Unbelievable. Yagi Shabunkolu, the most reliable man in Turkey, has said Sinik is going to Hatayspor. And then a bid for Lakilo. He might well leave. If he does/doesn't, it's not. Anyway, imagine if Lakilo tried rugby. Well, because you can't pass forward, he'd be great. Could you imagine a Tom Eaves and Lakilo link up? Do not compare Jason Lakilo to the godly spirit, benign specimen that is Tom Eaves. Thank you. Thank you. Never put the GOAT on the same level as Jason Lakilo. To finish outgoings then, there's interest in Matt Ingram. It was thought at the start of the window that neither him nor Allsop would leave, with Panda also coming in. As it turns out, it looks like Ingram might be on his way. And Ryan Woods also. Yeah, guys, I'm off. See you later. I think with all the sponsorship from Turkey and the fact Ajun's still trying to get more and more of a Turkish fan base, that's great. I think he thinks it's important to have a portion of Turkish players. True. Tufan can't carry us on his own. He's been the only decent Turkish arrival so far. Sinik hasn't really worked, has it? And Bora, put it this way, I don't think the Bora stuff is going to really work for anybody involved, to be honest. The fact some weeks he doesn't even start for the under-21s, I think that's, yeah. To put it this way, I don't think he'll be a permanent Hull City player next year. But I got him to sign something though, so I've got him sorted. Ryan who? Me. I'm gonna have a word with Ingram, says Leo. You might not have the chance, he might be gone by Millwall. Anyway, I missed Vinagro as well, didn't I? Yeah, he's gone. Oh well. Would have been a loss if he could have stayed fit. But he's going to be replaced by Ryan Giles. That's okay. That's all agreed. Loan to the end of the season. Option, not obligation. Option to buy him for around £4.25 million at the end of the season. There's a Middlesbrough fan teacher at my college, and I asked him, what's Ryan Giles like? He said, for £4.5 million, he's a steal. He's got one of the best left foots he's ever seen. Relatively consistent, and some of the stuff he'd do with a football from left back was just remarkable. Pretty solid defensively, he said. Great going forward. Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong if that's right. So that's done. We're just waiting on an announcement for that. The winger. We'll talk about the winger before we touch on Noah Ohio quickly. So this actually, you got this information actually from my tweet. So yes, Giles is just waiting on announcement. I am going to go onto Twitter. So Totty Hull asked, how come journalists from other countries get stories before our own Hull City dedicated reporters? Talking about Fabrizio Romano and a Belgian journalist breaking the Noah Ohio news. So I replied, Carvalho and Ohio coming from Fabrizio Romano will have nothing to do with us. His sources abroad will have told him about the striker. Liverpool sources about Carvalho. Totty Hull replied to me, but that's my point. Surely Hull City reporters should find out from our club when a deal's being done. Looks like they see things on here, then report it. Baz then says, I could report the winger they're on the cusp of signing, but I've been asked to for a number of reasons. I've been asked not to for a number of reasons. If it comes out elsewhere first, I or my sources can't help that. I could have done with Carvalho, but again, I was asked to keep it under my hat. And then, would the winger be a permanent? Would they likely be a starting 11? Yes and yes, if they get the one they want. He then also confirmed that we have, in an article that he released a couple of minutes later, that we have two main targets for a winger, both unnamed. One is on loan. The one we really, really want is a permanent signing, who, as Baz says, would go straight into the starting 11 if it comes off. So, Harry suggests that the winger could be Reece Nelson. I doubt that. Just because his wages will be so astronomically high. Do we have the best left side in the league when Giles signs and Philogene returns? Depends if Philogene has to move to the right to accommodate this new winger, I suppose. KLP, Raksaki, but all we want is Lakilo extended right. Keno, no. He's playing consistently for Brentford now. We tried in January. We asked again in the summer, but it was a no. Now he's getting games. It will be an even harder no. Raksaki, although a target in the summer, was injured in about October time with Crystal Palace, and he is still out and won't be back until the end of February. So there's no point in signing him if we're not going to get loads of time out of him. Imagine it ends up being Benson. Benson on a permanent would be mad. But the loan player could still be Benson. The loan player could still be Zaruri. We don't know. We don't know any names. But that's the sitch with the winger. Finally, Noah Ohio. Let me tell you about this lad, right? The way... Wow. Okay. So, he's eligible... This is crazy. He's eligible internationally for England, the Netherlands, and Nigeria. Was born in the Netherlands to Nigerian parents, but moved to England at a young age. Played for England at under 16 level and played for the Netherlands at under 15, 16, 19, and 21 level. 21 years old. Started his career at his local team, where he was born in Almere, the Netherlands. In 2015, moved to Manchester United. The next year, he moved to Manchester City. Was with them until 2019, when he moved to I can't say Red Bull Leipzig, can I? RB Leipzig, or as it is in Germany, RB Leipzig, if we're going to go down there. Didn't play a game for RB Leipzig, as far as I'm aware, but was loaned out to Vitesse, where he played 4 times. Austria Vienna, where he played 31 times in all competitions and scored 6 goals. And then was bought by Standard Liège, where so far he has played 40 games and scored 6 goals. This season, 10 appearances in the league, no goals, but most of those appearances have been off the bench. This deal, as broken by Fabrizio Romano earlier, is just a straight loan to the end of the season. No buy option or anything. Plain and simple, brought in because Delap is injured and because Connolly could be out until early March as well. Don't want Benson. He's been a twat. Ipswich, us, Leeds, Southampton, Birmingham all want him. needs to make up his mind. His YouTube highlights make him look a similar player to Delap. That's not really prolific stats, is it? Yeah, but you say that. What was Liam Delap's record before he came to us? Stoke, 23 games, 3 goals. Preston, 15 games, 1 goal. For us, this season, he's scored 7 goals in 27 appearances. If you're looking at goals per game, at Stoke, we're looking at 0.13 goals per game. For us, we're looking at 0.26. So it's a better record. And in our system, Delap is so much better than he was there. So it's not like, yeah, Delap's got 7 goals this season. That's great. But he does a lot more for the team than he did at the Stoke and a Preston, where they were just playing like long balls and stuff like that. We're playing in a system that suits him. And if he looks like another Delap on YouTube highlights, hopefully this system suits him as well. I think the idea is that the winger and 10 score as well, instead of having one big scoring forward. Exactly. I know this hasn't got anything to do with transfer, but you need to see the list of Leo. I'll ring you as soon as I finish this. But I doubt he'll be as good as Liam Delap. I accept that. That's fine. But I do think to cover for 4 months, and Delap might be back by the end of April. We don't know yet. We won't have heard. Well, we won't hear from Rosenior until Friday next week, probably in his pre-match presser, because I don't think he'll do one on Thursday with it being deadline day. Just let me check that. I'm fairly certain Thursday is deadline day. Yes, it is. Yeah. So between now and Thursday, there's gonna be a lot going on. As soon as a deal is done, it will be announced. Okay? That's what I'll say. As soon as a deal is done, it will be announced. Because we will do the media photos and all that kind of thing as soon as they're in training. Do I think we'll see... Because I don't... Depends when the deals get fully completed, I suppose, doesn't it? But I don't think we'll see Ohio come straight into the starting 11. I don't think we'll see Ömür come straight into the starting 11. I think we'll see Ryan Giles come straight into the starting 11, however. And if the winger gets done, the winger gets done. We'll see. Thank you for watching, everyone. See you for any signing and outgoing reactions over the week. There will be some this week, I promise you. Especially on deadline day. See you later. Up the Tigers. Goodbye.